You're watching ABC's Wide World of Sports.
It's the dawning of a new kart season. Old drivers, new drivers, and drivers with new homes will manhandle their steel chariots for over 5,000 miles in 7 countries, each pursuing the season-long goal of hoisting the Vanderbilt Cup. There are many questions. The answers are about to come. Are you ready? Preparation is complete. It's time to race. The drivers are ready. Are you? The festival is underway in the city of mountains, Monterrey, Mexico. The real dance is about to begin. Over 100,000 have poured into the Funidora Park Industrial Museum area as CART is ready for the CART Monterrey Grand Prix, and ABC continues its coverage of the CART FedEx Championship Series. Hello and welcome, I'm Paul Page. You know, in these moments before the start of a season are so electric. So many hopes, so many dreams. For this brief time, everybody has a shot at the championship, but that changes very, very quickly. There are now so many stories before the start of a season. We'll begin with Gary Gerald.
Last year was a year of remarkable resurgence for the Penske team, as evidenced by the #1 on the nose of Gilles de Ferran. He's now the defending champion. He and his teammate Helio Castroneves combined for 5 victories last year. And of course, Gilles riding the wave of emotion with that championship. He starts his title defense today inside row 2. And guess what? His teammate Castroneves in car number 3 is going to be right alongside. Anybody that wants to muscle the championship away from Team Penske going to have to answer to these 2 guys over the next 21 events. We go to Jan Bikus.
Michael Andretti is flying new colors this year, Team Motorola. It's owned by Barry Green, meaning that Michael Andretti is now teammates with Dario Franchitti and his former arch nemesis, Paul Tracy. It's been a great weekend for Michael. He's out-qualified his teammates. He starts 5th today. He has a lot of confidence for this very first race. Asked him, what's it going to take today? He says it's not necessarily going to take speed, it's going to take survival.
One of the big stories during the course of the offseason was the return to the series of 2-time champion Alex Zanardi. One of the big stories this weekend, Alex Zanardi's back in 22nd spot. In order for Alex and the other talented drivers to move to the front of this field, they're going to have to attack a very slick racetrack with every bit of their skill and courage.
Well, now let's take a look at the Kawasaki starting grid. Kenny Breck will lead them to the green flag for the first time in his career. Alongside will be Cristiano D'Amata. The second row, the Penske cars, Gilles de Ferran and Helio Castroneves. Row 3, Michael Andretti and Patrick Carpentier. Back in the 4th row, it's Dario Franchitti and young Oriol Servia. Jimmy Vasser and Roberto Moreno make up row 5. Vasser is making his first start for the Patrick Racing team. He won the season opener in 1996. In row 6, it's Max Pappas and Tony Kanaan. In the 7th row, it's Alex Tagliani and Scott Dixon. The 2000 Indy Lights champion, Dixon is the highest starting rookie of 6 in today's field. In row 8, Paul Tracy. And there's Christian Fittipaldi. Now, Tracy showed consistency in 2000 and looks for his first championship this year. In row 9, Mauricio Gugelmin and Brian Herta. The 10th row, Adrian Fernandez and Bruno Junqueira. Now, Adrian embarks on a new career. He's a driver-owner now, and his debut comes in front of this partisan Mexican crowd. Nicholas Nonassian is inside 12, and then is the 12th row, Michael Crum and Michel Jourdain Jr. 13, Tora Takagi and Max Wilson. Shinji Nakano and Luis Garcia Jr. make up the 14th row. Here's the track here, 2.1 miles around.
Principal passing area occurs going down into turn 5. It also leads into the slowest corner at 35 miles an hour. We've seen action all weekend long at the quickest corner where the drivers approach speeds of 180 miles an hour. But keep your eyes peeled for this first corner. Very, very slick offline. That'll be the key to today's race, Paul. Good fuel economy, taking care of the gearbox, and making sure that when you make those moves, you can make them stick without causing an accident.
And we have a special treat for you down at the S's with a ground level view of the track. The 1995 winner of the Michigan 500, Scott Pruitt, joins our broadcast team.
And I'm down here at the end of the back straight as the drivers make their way into the carousel. One of the problems today is going to be debris on the racetrack. what we've seen, guys cutting a corner. As you look down here in front of me, pylons bolted down to the racetrack. Practice yesterday, guys cutting a corner, tearing these up, throwing them onto the racetrack. We have dirt, we have grass, all sorts of debris. We'll be keeping a close eye on that today.
The field has already acknowledged the start of the engines. As we look at the race analysis here, it should be a most fascinating day. A brand new circuit, really only finished 2 days ago, and still plenty of slick spots on this circuit. We got plenty of onboard cameras for you as well.
On board with one of the rookies from Target, Chip Ganassi, Bruno Junqueira. He has been spectacular all weekend long, Paul, and I mean by that, mostly backwards and off the track. It should be fun to watch.
Of course, the veteran Mauricio Gulderman, he starts back in 17th place. From time to time, you'll get a look at what looks like industrial smokestacks. They've actually created an open park museum to heavy industry here, an old steel plant that was here. In fact, most of the steel for the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco was fabricated right here in Monterrey. A pace car well advances the field now. And they will, coming off of the S's, that's the turn they're approaching right now, go into their rows of 2. And the green flag should come as at least the first 5 or 6 rows are off the final turn and on the pit straight.
One of the keys to the entire race, but particular at this start, Paul, is the fact that online there's a lot of grip, a lot of rubber. It's a brand new circuit. Offline, hardly any grip. The difference is 20, 30 miles per hour in average lap speed between running on and offline. We'll see how this affects this first corner as all these drivers bid for this 2001 championship.
Oh, there's a lot of concern about this first corner. Kenny Breck brings them down. Cristiano D'Amata on the outside. Green flag flies, and we're underway with the 2001 kart season. Well, no worries at the front of the field. Already they're through the first turn. Look at the Penske cars up and pushing D'Amata. Now back a quick switchback, and then a very tight corner lies just ahead. Field is clean so far. Still, it looks like Helio Castroneves is doing everything he can to help D'Amata.
And we see Paul Tracy bump wheels there with Max Pappas, forces Max off the outside of the track. These drivers understand if they don't get a move done on this start or subsequent restarts, passing may be difficult without taking heroic measures. And look at Zanardi coming up through the field.
Alex Zanardi started back in 22nd place. That's his second worst start of his career. And we've got one car. It is Junqueira. He is off. Did he keep the engine running? It doesn't look like it. So Bruno Junqueira, one of the 2 rookies for Target Chip Ganassi, sitting by the edge of the race course.
Paul Tracy tried to make a big move down into turn 10. Couldn't get it done. Went straight off the track, up to the infield, tried to make his way back on the racetrack. You see, that's a pretty difficult situation. I'm sorry, that was not Paul Tracy. That was Franchitti.
So in the very first lap, some of the concerns that were expressed early came to pass. Certainly not a major incident in the first turn. They got through clean. But one of the concerns that everyone has talked about is getting off course and spraying dirt and debris up on course, because it's going to make it that much slicker. And since it's a brand new track, believe me, it's slick enough.
Fantastic opening lap for Paul Tracy. Moved from 15th up to 9th place.
Kart safety team tries to get Bruno Junqueira going again. This is the onboard view, Parker.
Hard on the brakes, protecting the outside line here. This is the 6-7 chicane. Watch how tight the slip is back to the left. He gets nailed from behind by Alex Zanardi there. Now we know what Bruno's problem was in the form of the 97-98 champion. Oh, look at this. He just comes in and says, no, not there. Here we come. There's the contact. Bruno had the line, drives for the apex. Alex doesn't leave him room to get back to the inside. Bruno had no idea he was there. Trust me, you're not looking in your mirrors as you're turning into this corner. That was 100% Alex Zanardi's fault. Left Bruno dead on the racetrack.
Yeah, but that's also a Zanardi that we know and love. Here comes Kenny Breck across the line, still being chased by Cristiano D'Amata. Helio Castroneves is still working pretty hard on D'Amata.
2.6-second lead now, the interval between Kenny Breck and Cristiano D'Amata. You can see the attack from Helio Castroneves has backed off a little bit. He was right up behind Cristiano on those opening lap and a half, 2 laps, and now he's fallen back just a bit. his teammate Gilles de Ferran right behind him. Remember, Gilles de Ferran has been sick all weekend long. It's hot outside. Track temperatures are already coming up. This is going to be a tough race for Gilles de Ferran.
And as you try to sort out along with us what some of the cars look like, look back there, the 39 car blue and white in 5th place, that's Michael Andretti. And another blue and white car, Patrick Carpentier, is just behind him. Then Oriol Servia in his new livery. Gary Gerald?
Just a quick update on Gilles de Ferran. He's been ill virtually most of the weekend. He's made repeated visits to the medical center. He's had IV treatment to get fluids in his body on at least 2 occasions, including just a couple of hours ago. He passed up the opportunity to ride in the driver's parade. He is not feeling anywhere near 100%. There is concern about whether or not he can sustain the pace for the 2 hours of this event.
Well, Junqueira has finally made it around the pit road with the help of the safety team. They, in fact, have agreed to take a little more exposure to the race course to try to get some of these guys clear. And they've done it for Junqueira, so he should be back in the fight very quickly. The view of Michael Andretti. Now, this was Junqueira as he heads back into action. But this was as he came into the pits, Parker.
He let go of the tow rope. You can see it got hung up on the onboard camera there. And they finally just let go of the rope altogether. Very dangerous situation. Get wrapped up in the half shaft, the rear suspension, rip off anything that it happens to be attached to, but fortunately got back to the pits without further incident.
So his career in karts certainly not starting the way he wants it. Look at this as they come 3 wide and then feather down. That's Manassian that leads that group in the second of the target cars.
Under attack there from Michel Jourdain Jr. and Tora Takagi right behind them. You talked about the rookies at the opening of the show, Paul. These guys are incredibly qualified. We have got the 3 top up-and-coming guys in the world in the series. Scott Dixon won the IRL championship last year. We're looking at Manassian here. He was Bruno's teammate in European Formula 3000. He was the runner-up. Bruno, oh, he's off there. Right back
Manassian.
on. He was the runner-up to Bruno, who won the Formula 3000 title, and this driver just in front of Manassian, Tora Takagi, he dominated the Japanese Formula 3000 championship. So these guys are infinitely qualified to be here in kart.
Scott Dixon, who's done a very nice job here this week and fallen back. He's in 16th, was the Indy Lights champion last year. So here is your leader, Kenny Breck, looking for his first victory in this series. Former winner of the Indianapolis 500. He's followed by Cristiano D'Amata, Helio Castroneves, Gilles de Ferran, and Michael Andretti. It's 4 Toyota, 3 Hondas, and then a Ford. 4 of our 80 laps are now complete in the very first race of the season. The crowd here estimated at over 100,000. We'll be back.
We don't know which one you'll want, what color you'll want, or even what accessories you'll want. But we do know that now is the time to buy a new Kawasaki Vulcan Cruiser. Right now, during our Kawasaki Good Times giveaway, we'll give you $500 in accessories or 0 down and a low APR when you pick up any new Vulcan 1500 Classic, Drifter, Nomad, or 800 Classic. And you should hurry in, because the only other thing we know is a deal this good isn't gonna last forever.
Did you ever see that movie, You've Got Mail? Where this guy and girl fall in love emailing each other a bunch of times? Anyway, they finally meet face to face, and there's this big romantic kiss. Do you know the movie I'm talking about? Did you ever see that one? Well, this guy didn't. Ford F-Series Super Duty. Built Ford tough.
You ready, guys? This could be the ride of your life. You gotta get past the myths and the excuses. Erectile difficulty is a common problem. Effective treatment is available. Talk to your doctor. You might be surprised how easily you can get through it.
We ran out of these light-duty springs, but I found some big ones in the back.
Okay by me.
business depend on just-in-time delivery of critical parts, this is a job for FedEx.
I'm gonna miss that dog.
The Monterrey Grand Prix on ABC Sports, brought to you by FedEx, proud sponsor of the FedEx Championship Series. And Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks are built Ford tough.
Welcome back to Monterrey, Mexico. Kenny Breck has completed 6 of the 80 laps scheduled here. He's followed by Cristiano Damata and Helio Castroneves. There has been no change since we left you. Here's something that perhaps Breck ought to think a little bit about. Only one time in the last 10 years has the driver who led the first lap of the season gone on to win the championship. Alex Zanardi, 1997. Now, Breck and the team have gone through some changes this year, but it's working for them.
Well, they sure have. They went from the Renard chassis to the Lola chassis. No, I mean, there's a big change there because they're very different on the road courses. On the ovals, the drivers say that the Lolas are very much stuck, especially at the back of the car. But these teams that have gone to the Lola chassis, like Team Rahal, have had big success during winter testing. Fantastic to watch Kenny Breck. Probably the biggest change, though, for this team is the fact that they've got a couple of new engineers. They've really developed their engineering staff, and it's proved to have huge gains come this race weekend.
We're looking at the Target Chip Ganassi team well back in the field right now, and just a few laps ago, this little battle got interesting between teammates. As a matter of fact, probably a lot more interesting than Chip Ganassi would have liked. Look at this. That's Banassian ahead of Junqueira.
Coming onto the pit straight, just a little friendly teammate tap.
I would like to get by you. That's a new way to tell him. Not a battle, though, for position. You have to remember that Junqueira had that considerable length of time off, though they got him back through the pits and back into the fight. Now we go back toward the front of the field. Castroneves, Gilles de Ferran, they battle with one another within the Penske team. Let's go to Jan Beekman.
In regards to Cristiano Damata, not saying much on the radio, he never has, but the team is telling him about his fuel mileage. The last report was 2.08. What that means is that there was some speculation today with some yellow. It could be a one-stop race. Well, at 2.08, no way. We'll see him twice here on pit road.
Target mileage, 2.00.
There is the word to Cristiano Damata. Looks strange to see him in the cockpit of the Newman Haas number 6, doesn't it?
Well, I was wondering if there was a big clothing exchange between these drivers. If Michael Andretti brought over all of his Newman Haas stuff to Cristiano, if Cristiano took all of his Pioneer stuff over to Alex, I don't think that happens. But there have been some interesting changes. You look at this car, you're looking for a silver helmet and Michael Andretti.
Cristiano Damata is, the team says, just a world different than Michael Andretti. Easy going, not tense, and is there all the time. Car up against the wall. That looks like the 25 car, Max Wilson. This is on the entrance to the pit straight. The flags have come out for the pace car and a full course caution. They will slow the field.
And I calculated that the fuel window could open up as early as lap 9. We'll see what happens. If you're the leader, Kenny Breck, no matter what you do, everyone else might go off schedule from whatever your strategy is to try to gain track position. We talked to a few engineers at the beginning of the race. They said, boy, the one place you don't want to be when this happens is where Kenny Breck is.
You know, and that strategy, there is Breck as he comes onto the front stretch. He'll acknowledge the flag at the start line right now. The general rule has always seemed to be follow the leader, but going off strategy has paid off a number of times in the past several years, so we'll see who picks what. Christian Fittipaldi heads for the pits. And when they come around again, we'll see who decides whether or not this ought to be a time to head there. We'll be right back.
Remember the A-Team? Now there was an odd bunch of individuals. They always had some cockamamie scheme to get out of a jam. It never sounded like it would work, but of course it always did. Week after week, same time, same channel. Those were my boys. The Ford F-150 Super Cruise. Built Ford tough.
Nature made it. Minwax makes it beautiful with rich wood stains and long-lasting protective finishes. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
If you can't stop here, stop here for 25% off the regular price of Midas VSD brake pads and shoes. They've got a lifetime guarantee and they're the best we've ever offered. They're quieter, they stop faster, and last longer. And if they wear out, we'll provide you with new ones at no charge for as long as you own your car. So for 25% off VSD brakes, go Midas.
It takes off with ease, turns with incredible precision, and grabs like it's second nature. Firehawk, the racing tires from Firestone, winner of 51 Indy 500s, and the inspiration behind Firehawk Performance Street Tires. On the track or on the street, no name soars higher with pride than Firehawk. Born at Indy, performs everywhere.
Nature made it. Minwax makes it beautiful with rich wood stains and long-lasting protective finishes. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
Two of TV's best dramas are teaming up for an extraordinary crossover event.
Don't lie to me.
Tonight on an all-new Practice.
Is the baby in danger? I want Ben Gideon to see you.
Tomorrow on an all-new Gideon's Crossing.
If anything does happen, the baby comes first. Promise me.
We should get the baby out now, Ben.
Baby is not ready.
You're going to jeopardize the life of the mother?
This is television at its best.
They both could die.
The Practice tonight, 10/9 Central. Gideon's Crossing tomorrow, 10/9 Central. Only on ABC.
It's been 20 years since CART has raced in Mexico. Then it was Mexico City. Can you tell the crowds in Monterrey were looking forward to this event? Over 100,000 in the track here today. And high up over the track under the full course caution, here's a look down from our Honda Helicam. So far, we've only seen 4 cars come into the pits and none of them in the lead. So we'll see what happens when they come around at the conclusion of this lap. You saw Christian Fittipaldi as he headed in just as we left you. Crum was in, Manassian was in, Zanardi was in. There's that group, of course, a couple more additions there. Gary Gerald.
Well, one of the things we're going to look for on this first pit stop in this event today, there are 8 teams that are using a new single probe refueling device. They've combined the vent and the fueling apparatus in one so that one man is between the wheels as they refuel the car, not 2. The vent man, or the air jack man, now goes to the back of the car. This is Kenny Breck's rig. You can see the size of this. It has basically been doubled, but there's a couple of interesting features. Over here on this side, instead of manually having to cock the valve, it's now activated automatically by air pressure. It's taken a little more tension now to bring this sleeve down, to open it up, and it takes a little more tension to lock it into the buckeye, into the side of the car, to start the refueling process. What used to weigh about 8 pounds now weighs about 13 pounds. It's a little bulkier, a little tougher to handle, but it is going a little bit faster, they say, and that's why some of these teams are very surprised that others aren't quick to start using this. Eventually, everybody's going to be using this. It's going to free up one man in between the wheels. That could be a great safety benefit.
Well, we're under the full course caution. There's the reason, Max Wilson's car. 10 laps, 1/8 of the race now complete. There is the lineup at the top of the field. We'll be back after this message and a word from your ABC station.
Oh yes, a brilliant move. Galway scampering across the goal to stop it. They just couldn't seem to get enough players forward before. He's showing good fluid movement. To the right, the left. This is another aggressive charge down the flank. He's timed his run to absolute perfection. 2 defenders to beat. He's passed one. This is looking like a chance. Yes, he takes the shot in.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
You're forcing me to take a very drastic course of action here. I don't care. And that's why what we decided to do is we brought your grandma down.
The Job, premiering Wednesday, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC. Viewer discretion advised.
Yo, you messing with me, man. I think we're messing with your grandma.
Let's get ready to rumble!
The Indy 500 countdown begins. The Pennzoil Copper World Indy 200 next Sunday at 4 Eastern on ABC.
The fun starts early for Regis and Kelly.
You come in at 6:30 in the morning.
Yes.
Why?
This is a restoration process that takes time.
And on the next live, from his hit TV series to the big screen, comedian D.L. Hughley. Then soap star Finola Hughes talks about the challenge of playing 2 characters at once. Plus, snap to the beat as Uncle Cracker kicks off Pop Music Week. Don't miss the fun on Live with Regis and Kelly.
Watch Live with Regis and Kelly.
Monday at 9, right here on ABC 7.
Remember Jared from Subway? Turns out he's inspired a lot of people.
He's still looking good. He'll show you the way. His name is Jared, and he'll lead you to Subway. For 7 sandwiches with 6 grams of fat or less.
Subway. Eat fresh.
Come by your local participating Subway restaurant today and get 3 regular footlong subs for only $9.99.
1-800-Mattress now has showrooms. That's right, the original Dial-A mattress has open showrooms, and every famous brand mattress is on sale to celebrate the grand opening of our newest location. Only 1-800-Mattress offers 2-hour express delivery and earned the American Express Award for superior customer service. Call 1-800-Mattress, click on mattress.com, or visit one of our showrooms near you. 1-800-Mattress.
Learn the tricks supermarkets use to make you buy more. Monday at 5.
This Wide World of Sports update brought to you by Mobile One. Nothing outperforms Mobile One. Here now, John Saunders.
We'll get you back out to the auto race in just a moment. But first, the field of 65 gets announced today. And who would be the #1 seed in the East? Probably dependent on who won the game in the ACC for the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship. North Carolina and Duke. This was not even close. Battier with the steal. Jason Williams gets the easy layup. 21-point lead for Duke at that point. Not done. Jason Williams to Mike Dunleavy Jr. 24 points and 13 rebounds. Jason Williams was hurt late in the game. We are told he'll be okay. He'll be ready for the NCAA tournament. Number 600 win for Mike Krzyzewski. Mississippi against Kentucky. Saul Smith, the Keith Bogans. He jams it down looking for the SEC championship. Tayshaun Prince, 26 points and 12 rebounds. Tubby Smith picks up the win. They've won 8 of the last 10 SEC tournaments. Tubby Smith 9-1 in tournament games. Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12. Freddie Williams spots up, buries a 3-pointer. Texas has a 12-point lead. And then Chris Owens with the block on Hollis Price. A tremendous defensive outing for Texas. They led it big at halftime. Right now, it's just a 5-point lead as Oklahoma has crawled back into this one 30-25. The Big Ten Championship, Iowa surprised to get there. Indiana surprised to get there. The Hoosiers up by 6 right now. Mike Davis and his squad won 9 of their last 11. Iowa just 4-7 since Luke Recker was injured. But again, a tremendous run, and that run will get them into the NCAA tournament. In the NBA, the Heat and the Knicks, always a bitter rivalry. Tim Hardaway, 3-pointer, bombs away, and Miami was up 33-14. Allen Houston, though, to Marcus Camby along the baseline. He gets the dunk. Miami's lead is cut down to 12. Then Latrell Sprewell to Othello Harrington, the big guy out of Georgetown, left-hander. And New York has a 6-point lead. Then Allen Houston finds a 3-point shot. Nobody gets out to guard him. Pat Riley's squad did not play good defense down the stretch. New York wins it 86-83. Latrell Sprewell, 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. Kurt Thomas, 16 points and 14 rebounds. In Edmonton against Carolina, the Oilers now move into the #7 spot in the West. They do so ahead of Phoenix, the Wayne Gretzky squad not in the playoffs yet for sure. Right now, let's take it back out to the auto race and rejoin Paul Page.
Well, John, you've missed nothing here. They've just been trying to get the track clean and circulating behind the pace car. This is the lineup as it exists right now. No other additional stops. We're waiting to go green, and that should happen fairly quickly here. Don't forget, tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN is a great Western Conference matchup when the Colorado Avalanche host the Dallas Stars. This is a full national telecast, so if you live in Dallas or Colorado, you can only see the game on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Well, here's an interesting problem. One of the drivers dropped their cell phone.
Phone home.
Don't you wonder how that got there? It's out on the racetrack. They're going to have to get that off, of course. One of the drivers that we're watching is Paul Tracy. He started 15th, just very steadily worked his way forward, now sits in 9th place.
And really, the big opportunity to make up ground is either on the restarts or on the pits. So I would assume, once again, we're going to see some guys making some very brave moves on this restart.
Alex Zanardi, he gives the okay to his crew as they come in and bring him in. This is his 2nd time in.
Yep, they're just topping up to make sure they can take full advantage of this opportunity to go as long as possible. Also looking at the left front where he bumped Bruno earlier in the race.
Let's go to Jan Vikas.
With an update on D'Amata, because we saw a front wing change there for Alex Zanardi. That is what Cristiano D'Amata has asked for when he does come on the pit road. He says his car is getting loose. He needs more rear grip, so he asked them to take some front wing out to try and get that car balanced out.
Gale Truex in the pace car leads the field around. Scott Pruitt, you've been watching from a rather unique position. What specifically are you keeping track of?
Well, everything looks pretty as usual out here. There's no big surprises. Guys are being pretty clean, not tearing up the racetrack. Pylons are still right out there in front of me. There is a yellow pylon straight across from me. That's actually where the guys are going to start accelerating coming to the green, so I got a good look on that. One bit of an incident at the start, and that's been about it. Otherwise, through here, it's been clear and clean all day long.
And it's not your cell phone that's out on the track?
Negatory.
Okay. Scott Pruitt, good to have you on board with us this year. That's that point of acceleration. Pace car has to really hot-foot it, get off the track and clear for the field. Now once again led by Kenny Bracken, the shell car. Cristiano D'Amata already working hard on getting his tires clean and scrubbed. And Castro Neves, the 3 car, then Gil de Ferran.
Kenny Brack just wants to get a good jump, get a nice break from Cristiano D'Amata. Cristiano D'Amata, part of him wants to look forward and attack. The other part, he's got to defend his position from Castro Neves and the rest of the group, and so it goes throughout the rest of the field.
As Kenny Brack acknowledges the green flag, here we go. 15th lap, the restart. Down the front stretch, they're all clean. Field comes through. Good view of Oriol Servia's new car.
Kenny Brack did exactly what he needed to on that restart. He got a good jump on Cristiano coming onto the pit straight to make sure that he wasn't attacked from behind, and just concentrate then on being very clean and very precise and trying to extend his lead once again.
Very tight, very technical section of the race course. Penske team sits 3rd and 4th. Gary Carroll, what's going on there?
Castro Neves in the number 3 spot. Quick conversation with the president of the Penske organization, Tim Cindric, who's on the radio with Elio. He says, we're having a little bit of a gearbox concern that we're addressing. Consequently, we're playing it very conservatively. Yesterday morning in practice, they lost the dog ring in the 4th gear, had to replace the gearbox, had no further problems in qualifying, but it is on their minds as he runs in 3rd. Meanwhile, de Ferran has said little about his physical condition. He likes the balance of the car. They're pretty happy in 3rd and 4th.
One other addition to the kart series this year is a new chief steward in the person of Chris Neifel, a former kart competitor. And in getting this brand new course ready to go, he certainly had a serious workout this week. They ran right down in the last minute on getting the course done, but they've really done a beautiful job on the circuit itself. They just almost literally ran out of time because of weather and other problems, but this magnificent Ron Dixon created circuit, same guy who put the first Surfers Paradise course together. When they get it all finally straightened out and the grass so that it'll stick forever and the driver's not driving all over it, I think they've got a pretty good circuit going here.
We can see Castro Neves has moved up back behind Cristiano D'Amata to attack, but yes, Paul, I absolutely agree. I think they've done a great job. There are a few things that they'll get fixed once they've got some more time. You'll notice, except for one corner, none of these corners have exit curbings. That means the drivers run right to the ragged grass edge. That's been a cause of concern all weekend long because they've been knocking those cones off the inside of the corners and dropping wheels off on the outside of the corners, putting debris on the track. But so far, these guys have been very clean.
Michael Andretti, the 39 car. You know, think about this. This is kind of strange for me. Michael Andretti is the senior driver on the circuit. Now of active drivers with the most wins. And when you look down at all of the stats that the series publishes, there are 12 different categories of active drivers. Michael leads in 10 of them. He's really had a magnificent career.
Michael said that he's come into this season in the best physical shape ever. He's got all new equipment, all new team. He's had to adjust the Renard Honda power. New engineer in Eddie Jones, who was brought up from the Team Green Indy Light Series. Michael gives this guy tremendous praises. They've done a great job this weekend but it's not until you get into the heat of battle that you know how that relationship's going to form, because that pressure puts a premium on communication, and Eddie Jones and Michael Andretti have done a great job all weekend long.
And Michael Andretti this week sometime is expected to announce that he will be running in the Indianapolis 500 this year as he pursues that somewhat elusive dream. And of course, the Indy 500 is covered here on ABC Sports.
As this race settles down, you can really start to see the maturity of guys like Michael Andretti, Jimmy Vasser, some of the others. Notice their cars never move. They're not locking brakes. They're not spinning the rear tires coming off the corner. One of the big problems with the circuit, because it's a limestone base surrounding the track, there's a lot of grit, a lot of dirt. The track is very slick. The driver said, hey, Parker, it's like driving in the rain, except it's dry. Firestone brought the softest road tire they had. It's just like the Laguna tire, a great tire. But the guys that are a little nervous, a little impatient, Paul, they're going to be spinning the rear tires, wearing those rear tires out. As Jan said, a couple of wing changes being made for guys trying to conserve those rear tires, put some more load on the front of the car so that they don't have the problem with the back of the car.
32 car right behind Michael Andretti. That's Patrick Carpentier. He's getting a second chance. He thought he'd lost that ride this year. But at the last minute, Jerry Forsyth and the team recognized something there, and they brought him back. Here is Oriol Servia, who is really a great story this entire weekend.
He's with the new Sigma Autosport team, a small team. They haven't had a lot of preparation. Remember, it was just over a month ago at Sneak Preview that this deal came together. He put in a huge qualifying effort in 8th place, and he's backing it up now with a solid run in 7th place. It's a huge story. For a lot of the drivers, they said this was the biggest story of the weekend, the talent of this young man and what he accomplished.
Oriol Servia currently in 7th place. It's Breck, D'Amato, Castroneves, DeFerrin, and Michael Andretti. Looking back from Bruno Junqueira's car, Alex Zanardi and Scott Pruitt. You've been keeping an eye on Alex.
Yeah, I was a little surprised he's not picking up the pace a little bit. Now, he did come in, topped off with fuel, didn't change tires, so he's virtually running a little bit heavier load, but some of the guys that came in and made that splash are making a little bit of a move. He's running around the back of the pack. It'll be interesting to see how that actually will play out as the race unfolds and guys start making their first pit stop.
Zanardi, 25th position right now. That's worse than he qualified, but of course he had the 2 stops under the yellow. That dropped him back a bit, but whatever they did, doesn't really seem like it has helped him. He certainly hasn't been in attack mode. Gary Gerald?
Well, one of the early concerns for Alex Zanardi that's complicating his day is the fact that the radio communication seems to be one-sided. On the pit side, they can hear Alex. Alex can't hear the pits. And it's just one of those deals that you have to find a way to deal with. And hopefully, maybe the gremlin gets out and somehow it improves itself as the race goes on. But not a tough way to come back to the Car FedEx Championship Series with one-sided communication.
We go a little further forward in the field now. This is 8th place, Jimmy Vasser, car 40. Now joining the Patrick Racing team as a teammate to Roberto Moreno.
Jimmy very much fired up during winter testing. The 96 champion was gravely disappointed over his dismissal from Chip Ganassi Racing at the end of last season. And he is determined, Paul, to make sure that everyone understands that he is a champion, he is quick, he can still win races. And he and Roberto Moreno have been working on one thing all winter long, making sure these cars qualify better. Because remember, last year Patrick Racing put their drivers right in the mix of things at race's end, but they were always starting a little farther back than they wanted to.
When you think that after our conversations with him, spring training, and now that Jimmy Vasser is a bit of a changed race driver?
I think very much so. He's, you know, the great thing is the guys on the team say that he's so relaxed, nothing affects him, but when he gets in the car, he is all business and drives every single lap as hard as he possibly can.
There's pretty serious trouble right there behind Vasser in the person of Paul Tracy. He's very definitely in attack mode. Tracy, without question, you know, he's second senior when you think about it in the series. Wins last year, this now expanded team with Michael Andretti coming out of the same shop. A team that is, in fact, working together to a large degree, certainly in all race car development. And here's a guy who definitely feels and has felt for the past several years that the championship could sooner or later be his. 19 laps now complete. Kenny Breck still the leader. He's led right from the green flag. Cristiano D'Amato, Castroneves, DeFerrin, Andretti, Patrick Carpentier, and Servia. That order has remained relatively, in fact, absolutely unchanged. The beautiful mountains that surround the city of Monterrey, Mexico. And the crowd here is loving this run, but they're hoping we're going to see some action in the top 5.
Did you ever see that movie, You've Got Mail? Where this guy and girl fall in love emailing each other a bunch of times? Anyway, they finally meet face to face, and there's this big romantic kiss. Do you know the movie I'm talking about? Did you ever see that one? Well, this guy didn't. Ford F-Series Super Duty. Built Ford tough.
You ready, guys? This could be the ride of your life. You gotta get past the myths and the excuses. Erectile difficulty is a common problem. Effective treatment is available. Talk to your doctor. You might be surprised how easily you can get through it.
Since I met you, I've begun to feel so strange. Every time I speak your name, and honey, you'll always be the only one for me. Meeting you was my destiny.
With payments from just $1 a day, falling in love with a Yamaha V-Star has never been easier.
If you can't stop here, stop here for 25% off the regular price of Midas VSD brake pads and shoes. They've got a lifetime guarantee and they're the best we've ever offered. They're quieter, they stop faster, and last longer. And if they wear out, we'll provide you with new ones at no charge for as long as you own your car. So for 25% off VSD brakes, go Midas.
This is about guts, instinct, and knowing the slugging percentage of a career platoon player with a knack for clutch dingers. ESPN Fantasy Baseball. Sign up today at ESPN.com.
Parental warning labels, not good enough. It's the kids that need the warning. Warning, don't bring this junk in my house.
But I tell you about listening to all that cussing.
Yeah, all the music has cursing.
No, Marvin Gaye didn't curse. Except maybe when his father shot him.
Damon Wayans stars in My Wife and Kids, premiering Wednesday, March 28th on ABC.
Here's a little-known historical fact. The first work on bungee jumping was done here in Mexico, eh, Parker?
Well, I think I'm going to have to use a lifeline and phone a friend on this one, Paul, but I think this is an Aztecian ritual for rites of passage.
And part of the ceremonies leading up to the event here in Monterrey. They're slowing down the yellow flag. That's Roberto Moreno. Roberto Moreno hard against the wall.
This is the same place we saw Max Wilson go into the fence. Earlier in the weekend, we saw Paul Tracy have a big wreck in the exact same place, Paul.
So if they brought out the full course caution before, I suspect they'll do it again. Let's take a look at what happened.
Oh, he's way off line there. You could see the dark, rubbered-in groove. He was way off in the gray. Not uncommon from what you'd see on an oval. And once he got off that line, there's a lot less grip. And boy, Paul, there's just nothing out there to hold on to. You just become a passenger at that point.
Third driver to get in right there. Paul Tracy did it in practice.
Look at the gray. Look at the difference in the track surface. You can see the trailing car in the black. He is well offline, exits the corner much too early. Franchitti comes through. Tony Kanaan just misses him. That's very close.
So let's see what they're going to do pit side. One thing they're going to do is bring Kenny Breck in, Jan Beekes.
Yes, but also D'Amato, watching the back of the car, Todd Phillips, the air jack man. This is what Gary was talking about. We have new positions. And speaking of Gary, let's get up to him.
Yeah, Kenny Breck is getting service. Now Castro Neves and DeFerrin roll by toward their pit stop. Michael Andretti's going to duck in right in front of Breck. This could be close. Look out. Oh, by inches. They separate. And Breck gets away cleanly. Tracy comes in. D'Amato gets out. Here's Franchitti as well.
This all in the 23rd lap of the race as they work on getting Roberto Moreno's car off of the track. So Kenny Breck back into action. They got him in very quick, Parker. This was going out.
And look at this left front tire, man. That was some real good decision making. He said, go, no stop. And Kenny Kenny's the pilot in command here, and he said, no, I'm not going. Perfect timing, gets back out leading this race.
Yeah, and guys, don't forget the last time he was leading a race and came on pit road, I believe that was back in Chicago when he stalled it. So that was a great move for Kenny Breck. They've worked on it all winter.
So once again, the pace car comes out. This is the second time of the day, and for an accident in exactly the same place, this time involving Roberto Moreno. Indication is no problem with Moreno, but it will slow the field. It brought the leaders into the pits, and it will affect certainly the strategy going to the end of the race. Now next Sunday, the countdown to the Indianapolis 500 begins. ABC Sports travels to Phoenix for the IRL season opener. Team Penske drivers Gil DeFerrin and Helio Castroneves will be competing in the Pennzoil Copper World Indy 200 next Saturday live at 4 o'clock on ABC. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com.
We ran out of these light-duty springs, but I found some big ones in the back.
Okay by me.
Does your business depend on just-in-time delivery of critical parts? This is a job for FedEx.
I'm gonna miss that dog.
The earth-shattering sound you get when we install a 12-inch subwoofer in your car.
Did you ever see that movie, You've Got Mail? Where this guy and girl fall in love emailing each other a bunch of times? Anyway, they finally meet face to face, and there's this big romantic kiss. Do you know the movie I'm talking about? Did you ever see that one? Well, this guy didn't. Ford F-Series Super Duty. Built Ford tough.
Try all you want, but nothing can replace the rush you get from a Kawasaki Ninja.
Being a mentor doesn't have to be this very rigid, scheduled thing. It can be flexible, and it has to be flexible. I travel a lot with work, and I work a lot of hours, but Kieran and I find a way to work it into both of our schedules. It makes me feel good that I see that I'm having an impact on a young person's life.
And welcome back to Monterrey, Mexico. Next Sunday, ABC Sports hits the slopes in Vail, Colorado, as Franz Blommer and the other downhill skiing legends team up with Gloria Estefan and more celebrities in a benefit for the Christopher Reeve Paralysis Foundation. Former President Gerald Ford will host the 2001 CSFB Direct American Ski Classic next Sunday at 3 Eastern and Pacific on ABC Sports. Roberto Moreno gets the cheers of the crowd as he walks back uninjured from his accident. Jan, you're right there.
I am. Roberto, what happened?
Say again?
What happened?
Well, I got into the marbles there and then just washed to the wall.
We've had some people call in on the radio saying the track is breaking up. Is that one of the places where that might be happening?
I'm not sure, but there was a lot of marbles there. I don't know where they come from. I couldn't see it for sure. I was too close to the car in front of me, and when I saw it was too late.
Thanks.
I'll tell you what, that was a hard hit. As tight as it is, it's a fairly fast corner. And it's a corner that they have had some issues with ever since they started racing here 2 days ago. So with the round of pit stops that came on the 23rd lap, these are the guys in and out and how it worked for them. Now remember, we're a little bit out of sequence with some guys who stopped earlier. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
You ready, guys? This could be the ride of your life. You gotta get past the myths and the excuses. Erectile difficulty is a common problem. Effective treatment is available. Talk to your doctor. You might be surprised how easily you can get through it.
Pip, get in the car, Pip. I don't believe this. Get in the car, Pip. Well? We're not talking about your ass ever again. You're worried about how big it is? Stop eating.
So you do think it's bad?
The Job, premiering Wednesday on ABC. Viewer discretion advised.
Let's get ready here, Rumble!
The Indy 500 countdown begins. The Pennzoil Copper World Indy 200 next Sunday at 4 Eastern on ABC.
What volume for 135? 135.
Find down for 135.
Enron Online will change the markets for many, many commodities. It is creating an open, transparent marketplace that replaces the dark, blind system that existed. It is real simple. You turn on your computer, and it's right there. And if you want to do business, you push the button.
Do you believe in flying fish and whistling frogs? Did you ever take a stroll through time? Or measure a day by a heartbeat instead of a clock? When was the last time you celebrated absolutely nothing but the pure joy of being alive? Barbados, just beyond your imagination.
Save up to 80% buying factory direct. The Jewelry Source makes most of their jewelry in their state-of-the-art factory, imports their diamonds direct, and guarantees the lowest price. Compare Tiffany's 1-carat platinum band for $5,800 with the Jewelry Source's for $1,500. 1-carat hearts are $199, 2-carat bracelets $349, 1-carat studs $399. The Jewelry Source has a huge selection and guarantees all the jewelry they make to appraise for at least double. Buy factory direct. The Jewelry Source in Fort Lee. Bill Britter, ABC 7, Eyewitness News.
Our Toyota Spotlight takes a look at the turn that leads onto the pit straight. Early this morning, they were putting a slurry seal down on that track. They've had some problems with that corner, though Christian Fittipaldi, I don't think it had anything to do with the seal at all. And Moreno, it looked like he just came into the corner very high and up in the marbles, which is certainly what he said. Now this is a look down on that same turn, 12, the final turn, and the lead into the pits at the same point. And that's part of where the concern is, a bit of breakup showing there, but still, Parker, it seems if you're online, you're generally okay. It's just when somebody gets offline and sprays all that stuff over.
I think you're right, but what we're starting to see there is that's starting to dig up fairly deep, and what's coming out of that material is creating, normally we talk about marbles being from the tires. Well, the tires haven't created any problems, but that track coming up is creating a hazard offline on the outside of that corner.
And since you mentioned the word marbles, there they are.
But you can see those are well offline to the outside. That's very normal. Firestone brought a great tire here. That's no more than you would expect. But this track problem, as you can see on the inside, that's what potentially could create a real problem here. The drivers have to make sure they're right on the inside on the top of that curve. They get 6 inches out, they've got big problems.
So with 26 laps complete and under full course caution, here is the rundown. Now the top three, Dixon, Herta, Fernandez, have not pitted at all. And look down there in 10th place. There's Zanardi. Remember that they did that last minute under the previous yellow stop to take a splash and get the car as full as possible. So Morris Nunn's playing some of his old games again.
And the way this race is running, between the track conditions and the offs we've seen, you'll never know how that's going to play out, but it certainly gives Alex a great track position, and as he gets closer to the front, the stronger he gets.
As we suggested, top three haven't stopped. Kenny Breck sits in 4th place, and he is one of those that stopped just 3 laps ago under this full course caution. So we wait now in Monterrey, Mexico for the green flag to come out again. The very first race of the CART FedEx Championship Series. We'll be back.
Oh yes, a brilliant move. Galway scampering across the goal to stop it. They just couldn't seem to get enough players forward before. He's showing good fluid movement. Right, left. This is another aggressive charge down the flank. He's timed his run to perfection. 2 defenders to beat. He's past one. This is looking like a chance. Yes, he takes the shot.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
I am the dog. No cage can contain me. No chain can hold me back, for I am the dog. The snarling mad beast who on its day will lift my leg and mark my space in their sacred circle. Until then, don't come near me. I bite.
At 160 miles an hour, your heart rate triples. At 200 miles an hour, your muscles strain and distend. At 230 miles an hour, it's not uncommon for headaches to begin. And that's just what the crew is going through.
Hey, you're clear. You're clear.
We ran out of these light-duty springs, but I found some big ones in the back. Okay by me.
Does your business depend on just-in-time delivery of critical parts? This is a job for FedEx.
I'm gonna miss that dog.
2 of TV's best dramas are teaming up for an extraordinary crossover event.
Don't lie to me.
Tonight on an all-new Practice.
Is the baby in danger? I want Ben Gideon to see you.
Tomorrow on an all-new Gideon's Crossing.
If anything does happen, the baby comes first. Promise me. We should get the baby out now, Ben.
Baby is not ready.
You're going to jeopardize the life of the mother?
This is television at its best.
They both could die.
The Practice tonight, 10/9 Central. Gideon's Crossing tomorrow, 10/9 Central. Only on ABC.
Well, back at Monterrey, the green flag has just come out. Rookie Scott Dixon is leading the field, and in fact doing a pretty good job of it. Brian Herta sits there in second. There's the shell car. That is, of course, Kenny Breck, the early leader of the race. And that whole lineup from the early part, the guys who have now made their stops on the 23rd lap, are trying to charge up through the field. I think, whoa, one car off, and it looks like Zanardi. This time, that may be a little more costly.
We saw Fernandez that gridded up third. He went backwards quickly. We saw Takagi banging wheels with him, and in that ruckus coming out of turn 5, looked like Zanardi made contact. Got spun around, made contact with the left front. And this young man, last year's Indy Lights champion, now leading in his first race with the kart series.
Now remember, with Zanardi, there's a two-way radio problem. You may have heard them trying to solve that as we watch the accident again. They asked him just to click if he was okay. Apparently, there's no modulation on the frequency, but carrier going through.
Behind Michael, in front of one of the players' cars, you saw it there. There you see them touching wheels coming off the corner. And then on power, Zanardi does it all by himself. He has the little run-in coming off the corner, gets it back together, rolls the power back on, loses the back of the car.
You know, in looking at that view, it also looks like there was a pretty good nerf job going on just as Zanardi started to spin as the field compressed up behind him. Well, they're taking some chances there. Good work by the safety team as they get around, try to get Zanardi back into the fight. It's still Dixon and Herta at the front. And then that lineup, there is Breck and D'Amata ready to just jump on him whenever they can.
The new chief steward, Chris Neifel, said he was going to do everything possible to avoid going full course yellow. They're going to try to keep that local unless they think there's a dangerous situation involving the safety crew.
Jan Vikas, you've been watching Adrian Fernandez.
Yes, along with 100,000 other people, Paul. And he has not been on pit road yet. I just checked with the team, and they said that he can only go to lap 35 or 36 till he needs fuel. And I guarantee you, when he comes on pit road, it'll be as if he won this race. They are really pumped about Adrian Fernandez down here.
Well, Jan, what do you think's going on down there? Dixon, Herta, Fernandez, are they taking a look at that one-stop strategy?
Well, I think when you're playing a little bit of catch-up, Paul, you have to just do something that the leaders are not. And so, therefore, you're taking a chance. You're looking to see how far you can go. I think they need some help with yellow. But, yeah, what the heck? Why not try it?
You can imagine, too, how the Mexican sponsors in the series, like Telmex and Ducati and Herdake, they are just all over the place. They're so proud of this event taking place in Monterrey. We started the day with 6 rookies in the field. There's one of them, Takagi. Been pretty aggressive. You know, when you see him just walking around, you'd hardly label him as a race driver, but we've seen some aggressive moments out of him here today. And we've also, when we look at his history, I mean, he's a pretty hard-souled driver.
And speaking with Jacques Villeneuve, he said that Tori Takagi is one of the best Japanese drivers that he's seen in a very long time, and said, watch out for this guy. He's going to be very, very good given the right opportunity in Champ Cars.
Scott Dixon still running in front. Brian Herta is protecting him in second place. With Breck D'Amata, DeFerrin, Castroneves, they're all trying to get around, but Dixon's doing a beautiful job out here in front.
And I had a better look at turn 12 leading onto the pit straight and that track break up there. And you know what? That is not on the right side of the wheels of the car. It's actually at the point where the drivers now have to go offline. I suggested earlier maybe they could tuck in a little closer. They actually have to start straddling that, and that track is breaking up worse and worse. It looked worse then than it did when we saw it a little bit earlier. That's going to be a big problem as this race goes on.
Scott Dixon is the second car in the Pac West stable. Teammate to Mauricio Guzman replaces Mark Blundell in that car. We're going to take you up overhead. Let you take a look at the front of this field and all those interesting compressions and extensions that happen in the corner. So that's a look down from the Honda Helicam at Kenny Breck. Breck got an early birthday present. Birthday's in about 10 days, but the present was the pole position here. Kenny hopes to convert it further than that into a race win.
And last year, Paul, the two drivers that every single lap of every single session you could see really hustling the car were Juan Montoya and Kenny Breck. Now, earlier I said about that problem, that's occurring right there, right at the apex of the corner. There, you can see it along the right side wheels. And what's happening is that they're having to move offline to the right in order to straddle that problem, and that will become a bigger problem as this race goes on.
Continuing that overhead view, turn 1, the sweeper to the left at turn 2. Little squirt of power for a straightaway here. And then to the left, a very, very tight turn.
And that car just in front, that plain blue car, that's the Zaxby Foresight car driven by Brian Herta. Brian said, you know what, I was a little angry that no one really gave us a shot of looking at the championship over the winter, but it's been good because we are the sleepers in this series. Remember, Brian only competed in a handful of races last year, just dominated at Laguna, showed up with very little time, qualified 4th, ran 4th, finished 5th and 9th in another couple of appearances, has been very fast all weekend long. Suffered from the fact that he had to qualify in the first round of qualifiers since he didn't have a lot of championship points from last year. That hurt him overall, but now he's sitting second. This guy is so quick. This team is very fired up. The third car in Jerry's stable. He's one of Jerry's kids now. And Brian is one of the Americans we've got to watch. One of the few Americans. He's going to be very, very quick all year long.
Yeah, and because you've been watching the strategy of guys like Dixon and Herta, the guys who didn't stop.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out if, in fact, you could make it on the one-stop strategy, Paul, and it does seem as though it's going to come down to the time race issue. If you look at the elapsed time of the race right now, it just clicked over to 57 minutes, and there's a 2-hour time race. So therefore, if these guys don't stop, if they can make it 1 hour and then stop, and the second half of the race runs exactly like the first half did, then you could do it in one stop.
Ooh, that's going to make it interesting. Dixon, Herta, they both have a chance if you look at it that way. And you know what? Well, Breck, D'Amata, DeFerrin, Castroneves, they're all on cars that are still heavy with fuel right now, and certainly Dixon's a little bit lighter, but still he's doing such a great job out in front. There's Michael Andretti. Right behind him is Patrick Carpentier and Paul Tracy. I was trying to decide if whether or not that Carpentier wasn't one of those that when Zanardi got off the course, whether or not he got nerfed by Paul Tracy. I've been trying to look at Tracy's nose to see whether or not there's any evidence of that, or whether or not he just got on the brakes and came awfully, awfully close.
Paul, this is Scott. I was keeping a close eye on that coming through here, and I don't see anything on the nose of his car. I got a pretty good look down in front of me, and it looks pretty clean, so so far so good.
Well, Paul Tracy's coming up to try and do battle now with Patrick Carpentier. Tracy, the green and white pool car. And Michael Andretti. Carpentier closing a little on Michael.
You can see the rubber mark there very clearly on the front of his car now, Paul. I think you had it right.
Well, if they did, it doesn't seem like it affected performance on either car.
Remember, Paul was also hustling a lot right at the opening stages of this race. We could see him get together with Max and a few other drivers down in the tight hairpin turn 5. So we don't know if that mark was made then or that happened a little later in that next incident.
Yeah, there is certainly a mark on there. Go back to Jan Bikus. Jan, right now we're crossing over that 1 hour mark that you talked about.
Toro Takagi made a big move on the inside coming up Castro Neves. Couldn't get it to stick though. Came up the inside, slid off going into turn 11. Just couldn't quite make the move stick.
And Paul, to answer your question, we understand that Brian Herta, in fact, his crew is laying out right now. He is coming in. We expect Adrian Fernandez 2 laps after that. We do not yet have an update on Scott Dixon.
Kenny Breck has been told by his team that the cars in front of him will have to pit within the next 5 laps.
And that's a real relief for a driver, because then you know that you don't have to attack it right that moment. You can be a little bit more patient, try to save your tires, wait for those guys to clear out in front of you when they dive in the pits, and then start establishing that interval. Kenny can't relax too much, though, because he does have D'Amata, DeFerrin, and the rest of the gang right behind him.
Yeah, there's exactly the point. While he may not have to go after Herta and Dixon, he's still got to protect the back door against some pretty aggressive guys. So we're expecting Brian Herta in at the end of this lap.
And you can see one of the problems. We talked about those exit curbs. That's a very high-speed exit. The guys drop just a little portion of the right rear tire off. It throws up all that limestone, dirt, occasionally sod, creates huge problems.
As we suggested, Brian Herta makes the turn onto pit road.
Right open pit. Just right underneath that fan.
Jan Bikus is right there.
And of course, Brian Herta is hoping maybe this will be his only time on pit road today. They are using the single probe fueling like so many, rather the other 7 teams. Waiting for fuel, pretty routine for Herta. Well, except for that. Come on.
Keep it going. Great job.
Oh, he saved it at the last there. Great stop by the crew. Then he stuttered out of the pits, kept it going. Now, when does Scott Dixon come in? I'm guessing next lap, certainly not more than 2.
It's got to be very close, but remember, Brian Herta under Ford power, Scott Dixon under Toyota power, new power plant for that Pac West team. One of the things that was interesting on that stop, did you notice how much brake dust poured out of the wheels as they pulled off the old set of tires and put on the new ones? It was an amazing amount. These guys are all over the binders. It may be very slick. They're going from very high to very low speed a number of times on this 2.1-mile circuit.
And you know, while we watch the competition on the track and primarily identify it as a fight between drivers, look at how many others are involved. Carpentier kicks up a little dust there, especially the engine manufacturers and especially Ford, Honda, Toyota. This is a giant war for those guys.
And that was the amazing thing about qualifying, is all 3 manufacturers were represented in the top 3. Then you look at chassis, same sort of battle going on between Lola and Renard.
Scott Dixon now has Kenny Breck right there. Again, Breck doesn't have to pass him, but it's also a matter of Breck's rhythm. And we're expecting Dixon in just any time now, eh, Jan?
Well, amazingly, the crew just told me 3 laps. 3? That's amazing. Adrian Fernandez will be here any moment, but at least the crew is telling me they don't expect Scott Dixon anytime soon.
Oh, wow. Fernandez is in 7th place. He's the other one of that group that has gotten to what is now approaching in lap count the halfway point in the race. 37 laps complete. Patrick Carpentier, they're going to show him the black flag and bring him in because there's been some report of spray. I wonder if what was reported as spray is is more the dust that got kicked up there.
I don't know, Paul, but we just had a car go by our position. The engine was definitely off song. We'll try to identify that on this next lap.
And Parker, you can add to that.
Yeah, there's a spray on Carpentier, Gary. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can get there's a weird smell that's coming from that car that's drifting over the racetrack.
So we need you to pit this lap.
And a little bit earlier than they suggested, here comes Dixon on the pit road for his first stop of the day. Dixon, remember, a rookie. Team goes to work very carefully, taking their time. Good stop.
Reset fuel.
Dixon looks for the signal, and he gets away clean. Fernandez is in as well.
Yes, he is. They had a bit of a miscue there just as he was trying to pull away. He lost a little bit of time there, and now it looks like he can't get it in gear. Looks like the clutch might be gone for Fernandez.
And here is Patrick Carpentier. Remember the spray, the cowling comes off, terrible sign. Safety crew was there to give a little spray of light water onto the back of the car and make sure that whatever was under there wasn't going to flare up. So Kenny Breck now takes the lead with those stops, followed once again by D'Amata, Gilles de Ferran, and Elio Castroneves. That's your top four. So at Monterrey, the series now beginning to take a little bit of shape with Ford, Toyota, Honda.
Welcome back, Mr. Lewis. Anything to declare?
Oh, yeah. Do you ever have to make a phone call from a foreign country? You can't use your cell phone because it won't work. You can't call from your hotel room because they charge up the wazoo. You know how many drachma it takes to make a conference call? I got square coins. I got round coins. I got coins with holes in them. You want them? Take them. Take them all. Anybody want coins? Square coins? Round coins? They're useless.
Now there's a phone that does work around the world. The Nextel i2000. Nextel. More ways than anyone to communicate with everyone.
You ready, guys? This could be the ride of your life. You gotta get past the myths and the excuses. Erectile difficulty is a common problem. Effective treatment is available. Talk to your doctor. You might be surprised how easily you can get through it.
We don't know which one you'll want, what color you'll want, or even what accessories you'll want. But we do know that now is the time to buy a new Kawasaki Vulcan Cruiser. Right now, during our Kawasaki Good Times giveaway, we'll give you $500 in accessories or zero down on a low APR when you pick up any new Vulcan 1500 Classic, Drifter, Nomad, or 800 Classic. And you should hurry in, because the only other thing we know is a deal this good isn't going to last forever.
If you can't stop here, stop here for 25% off the regular price of Midas BSD brake pads and shoes. They've got a lifetime guarantee. They're quieter, they stop faster, and last longer. Go Midas.
Nature made it. Minwax makes it beautiful with rich wood stains and long-lasting protective finishes. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
You don't have to go to excess to get size and power. Introducing the new Suzuki XL7.
King of the road.
Suzuki. It fits.
Back at Monterrey, Mexico with the Kart FedEx Championship Series. We're trying to figure this out. That's Zanardi, who has an off-course incident just a few seconds ago with Shinji Nakano and drove part of the course way off of the course. And when he came back on, he's been very careful to stay out of everybody else's way. This is the tail end of the situation. There is Shinji Nakano and Zanardi. Zanardi on the right. They locked up, but both of them were able to get going pretty quickly.
Just coming down into turn 5, I think Zanardi had the inside of Shinji. They both turned, wheel-to-wheel contact. Off they went.
Zanardi coming through turns 11, 10, 11. He's going really slow. I'm not sure if he's having a problem with his car or what the case might be, but certainly certainly off the pace.
Well, you have to assume that something broke during that incident, either causing it or as a result of it. And he's just trying to get back to the pits, staying out of the way, if at all possible. Gary Gerald.
He comes in, the engine is still running, and they're changing, obviously, all the tires. Morris Nunn asked Alex, he said, if you're done, click the radio twice, but we couldn't tell. He didn't click it, apparently. He's pointing toward the left front suspension. They're checking it now. He shuts it down. Visors up. They may be over in the return of the former champion.
You know, up until about 4 laps ago, the top 3 fastest laps in the race were all held by Zanardi. And then suddenly Kenny Breck jumped up as the fastest lap, and then Tracy came back and went into second place, and then Zanardi came back at him with a quick lap as well. But right now, the fastest lap belongs to this man, the pole sitter, the man who has led a good deal of the race and is leading again, Kenny Breck. Now, Alex Zanardi is wearing that Hans device. That's what's over his shoulder, and that's part of this whole safety issue in racing that so many people have been talking about. This, hopefully, keeps them from twisting their head in such a way that it causes a terrible fracture at the base of the skull that can very quickly be fatal. Only a couple of the drivers are comfortable using it on road courses because, as you saw when he pulled it off, it does kind of limit your ability to turn your head left and right. So Breck, then D'Amata, DeFerrin, Castroneves, just the way it was in the first lap. Michael Crum with a good run, started 23rd, now 11th.
Problem on the back straight, guys.
What you got?
I got our leader slowing down, coming off, heading my direction. Seems like he's picked it back up, but Brack looks like he's having some sort of problem with his car. He's gone to second place.
Looking at the car, you see D'Amata got around him. And now here comes DeFerrin and Castroneves. Though, Parker, it looks like he may be back up to speed. Let's see.
Well, one of the things you have to consider is that there's a lot of PR people that are very careful about issuing winter test results. But there were a lot of gearbox problems during the course of off-season testing. These guys will be shifting over 3,000 times a lap during the course of this race. And with these sequential gearboxes, they can't skip gears. They've got to go all the way up and all the way down. I'm wondering if coming out of the Turn 9 complex, heading down towards where Scott's stationed, if you had a problem engaging a gear, if it found a false neutral, you finally found the gear and is now back up to speed. Could be any one of a number of things, but that's probably the most likely.
Gary Gerald.
Alex Zanardi, you come back. You were remarkably fast on numerous occasions, had the fastest laps of the race. What went wrong?
Lack of patience and a little bit of bad luck together with that, but mainly I should have been more patient. I just wish to apologize to the entire Pioneer WorldCom team, and I guess we have to wait 1 month before the next opportunity to do something good.
Feel good to be back, though?
Yeah, obviously there's ground to cover, both from my side and from the team side. Certainly this is not the kind of start we were looking to have, but now it's part of the past, and we got to look forward.
We look forward to seeing you on the streets of Long Beach where you've had success. Thanks.
Thank you.
The lack of patience. Is that the big car's answer to George Bush?
Oh, he's got a long way to catch up to me. I want to clarify, Paul, that was 3,000 times these guys are shifting during the course of the race, not each lap. But very, very difficult for Alex Zanardi. Remember, he set all-time records as champion when he left here in 1998. One of the things is his finishing position. You get 20 points for first, 16 for second. His average finishing points paying position, 15 points per race, which is just unbelievable. Very rare to see this man out of a champ car race.
Well, whatever it was with Kenny Breck, it seems only to be temporary. He's gone to second place behind D'Amata, but he's holding off the attack of the Penske force coming up just behind him. D'Amata, this is the first time that he has led since last year at Chicago. He won that race.
And Scott, Cristiano D'Amata, you brought him through his rookie year. How do you think his gearbox is going to hold up, since we're talking about that and the fact these guys would be rolling through these gearboxes every day?
When we were running together there, we were, that was one of the issues, but you got to remember that was 2 years ago. He got a good season under his belt last year. I'm sure he's matured a lot, and probably going to be a lot easier on the gearbox, but that could be a potential problem.
Pit side, Gary Gerald.
Well, a quick update as we hustled over from Zanardi to check on Kenny Breck and whatever happened. We are told by the team that apparently the engine shut down very briefly. There was some kind of a glitch in the recycling of the engine. They don't know if it's cured or not. But right now, everything is back to where it was prior to that little glitch.
Cured or not, there's the key.
Well, remember we saw that with Paul Tracy at Elkhart Lake on the opening lap. The engine management system shut off. He had to reset it. Had a brilliant drive back through the field to win that race. That is a really just a frightening thing for a driver. If it shuts off in the wrong place on the track when you need to have the throttle on to stabilize the back of the car, it could lead to a big moment. It looks like Kenny's got things under control, and hopefully those electrons will stay where they're supposed to.
More than under control, it looks like he's beginning to nibble back some of that loss to Cristiano D'Amata in a battle for the lead developing now.
Yeah, he's picked up about 3/10 of a second.
There's a big move by Takagi up the inside, still trying to make it stick. Oh, almost gets into Michael coming through turn 11. That's the problem. Tracy up the inside, on you.
Look as they come off of the corner. There's that group just off of the corner that Scott was talking about, but we're back at the lead. Cristiano D'Amata and Kenny Breck fight it out.
Wow, big gain that lap.
Paul Newman watches Cristiano D'Amata, his driver now. He spent so many years watching Michael Andretti in that car.
Kenny Breck picked up 1.3 seconds on that last lap. He is going considerably faster than Cristiano D'Amata at this point, almost 2 miles per hour faster on a lap average.
But as we have said so many times before, catching him is one thing, passing him is an entirely different thing. Down from the helicopter. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
Well, you know, you guys were talking about gearboxes just a moment ago. Castro Neves came down the front straightaway and had real difficulty selecting a gear. I think Gary said earlier that they had a touchy gearbox. I think he's having more and more trouble.
And the upshift shouldn't really be a problem because you just keep your foot flat on the floor, you just pull on the shift handle. The engine management system decides how long the engine needs to be shut off, which is just a matter of microseconds in some cases, before it refires the engine as it engages that next gear. If that's a problem, he's going to have to go back to the old tried and true system of lifting and shifting, trying to make those dog rig engagements on those upshifts as clean as possible.
Upper left-hand corner, we talked about the importance of the battle between the engine manufacturers here. We'll give you a lineup of the different engine manufacturers and what drivers are handling those power plants.
And on that lap, Kenny fell back about 2/3 of a second, lost about 1.5 miles per hour average on Cristiano D'Amata. Cristiano D'Amata now up to the 97 mile an hour lap. Kenny Breck back at 96.7 miles per hour.
So 47 laps are now complete, and the question becomes whether or not they shift in the rule book and this becomes a 2-hour timed race. It very well may. They call it the City of Mountains, Monterrey, Mexico. That's why. There's your leaderboard, Toyota, Ford, Honda. We'll be back after this message and a word from your ABC stations.
The Toyota Celica. Performance you can use. The Toyota Celica. Performance you can use.
The young bloods, the veterans, the legends, the NHL on ABC. The coolest games every Saturday. Red Wings versus Avalanche, Rangers versus Flyers, or Sharks versus Kings. The NHL rocks Saturday at 3 Eastern on ABC. Check it out.
Let's get ready to rumble! The Indy 500 countdown begins. The Pennzoil Copper World Indy 200 next Sunday at 4 Eastern on ABC.
Fun starts early for Regis and Kelly.
You come in at 6:30 in the morning.
Yes.
Why?
This is a restoration process that takes time.
And on the next Live, from his hit TV series to the big screen, comedian D.L. Hughley. Then soap star Finola Hughes talks about the challenge of playing 2 characters at once. Plus, snap to the beat as Uncle Cracker kicks off Pop Music Week. Don't miss the fun on Live with Regis and Kelly.
Watch Live with Regis and Kelly.
Monday at 9, right here on ABC 7.
Hi, I'm Fran Tarkington. This is the key to getting your new car. Even if you have bad credit or no credit at all, just call 1-800-BAR-NONE. Our friendly operators will complete your application in a matter of minutes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just one call from the privacy of your home, and you could have your approval package the very next day. It may also include a check for your new car. Even if you've been turned down before, get the car you need and deserve. Call 1-800-BAR-NONE right now.
Next only Rosie, she loves Third Watch.
Last week I'm watching it, and my Bobby is killed off.
Now Bobby Cannavale answers all the questions about his untimely demise.
I hope he's not dead. Plus, my friend Kathy Lee Gifford.
And
Christina really is not ready to decoupage.
get ready for the big craft off.
Don't you have some glue to scrape off?
Then this Super Kid's inspiring message.
I'm going to do great things and help many people, and CF is not going to be the thing to stop me.
Next only Rosie.
Watch the Rosie O'Donnell Show Monday morning at 10 right here on ABC 7.
Learn the tricks supermarkets use to make you buy more. Monday at 5.
Coming Wednesday on ABC, Dennis Leary stars in the edgy new comedy that has the critics absolutely raving. The Job premieres Wednesday after the Drew Carey Show on ABC. Now, it used to be that major racing series didn't run their very first event on a brand new course, and it's costing us right now. We've got a problem over there in turn 11. Leading into turn 12, and here's that problem, Parker.
As you come onto the pit straight, you can see the right side wheels are just destroying the track there. These cars are producing a lot of grip, even though the track's fairly slick offline, throwing up a lot of small asphalt stones just offline.
Elio Castroneves working with Paul Tracy, but Gary Gerald Castroneves may have some problems.
Yeah, Jan, boy, you had a great call on that coming out of turn 12 and onto the front straightaway, because we just confirmed with the team that Elio has in fact lost fourth gear. And as Tim Cindric put it, we're just trying to limp around and hopefully make it to the end. We checked also, though, with Gilles DeFerrin, his teammate. Tommy Wirtz told us there is no gearbox problem at this time for DeFerrin in car number 1.
And so we need to add that while we were away, nothing changed whatsoever. Cristiano D'Amata is the leader of the race, driving the Newman Haas car number 6, followed by Kenny Breck, the pole sitter and the early leader. Then Gilles DeFerrin and Michael Andretti and Paul Tracy and Castroneves, that battle that we've been showing you a little bit. Scott, as they come through, can you hear that gearbox issue?
No, I can't. I can see it. I can see him fighting the car. I can see him losing a lot of time. But it's just too far away and too much going on. You just can't pick it up.
And literally, Castroneves has his hands full, particularly his right hand, because as I said, with these sequential gearboxes, they're 6 speeds. You can't go from 3rd to 5th to 6th like you would with a standard H pattern. You've got to try to go through 4th. And on this course where you're upshifting and downshifting constantly, this is really, really going to cause a lot of problems. And because that gear's damaged, it's throwing out metal parts back into the gearbox, and I wouldn't be surprised before very long if he starts having problems with other gears.
So we'll keep an eye on the 3 car of Elio Castroneves. D'Amata, Breck, DeFerrin, Andretti, Tracy, Castroneves, and then right behind them a battle begins to develop. You got a glimpse of it there for a second. Jimmy Vasser, Alex Tagliani, and Dario Franchitti, but back up at the front now.
Kenny had made a real charge seeing if he could make a move on Cristiano, and now he's fallen back, and I think the strategy here is you don't want to push those tires any harder than you can, because they will go off fairly quick, and if you get offline, you're into the wall, as we've seen. I think Kenny's just got to wait for this next round of pit stops and hope his lads there at Team Rahal with the shell car can somehow get a better stop in than the boys at Newman Haas Racing, and that's going to be a real fight.
Michael Andretti, as he works his way up through this field. Jimmy Vasser was battling with Alex Tagliani. You saw that just a few seconds ago, and then, well, Jimmy Vasser got in pretty serious trouble. That Tagliani just made a quick move to the inside, while at the same time Franchitti made a move to the outside, and it was very costly for Jimmy Vasser. Franchitti, we haven't had a chance to talk much about him, but he said to me last night, he said, you know, last year was just terrible for me, but I really feel now like I'm back in the old form, and I think this is going to be a good year for me.
Last year was bad. Remember, he had that big crash on the oval at Homestead to open the season during spring training. He had a switch from his engineer. Don Halliday had left, who's now the engineer for Kenny Breck. But this year, things have started differently. Winter testing has gone very well. He has a new engineer in Ian Watt, who used to be Cristiano D'Amata's engineer, a fellow Scotsman. They've been getting along very well, been going very quick. He thought that this would be a great weekend for him. Had some problems in qualifying, and now looking at 8th place.
Kenny Breck making a move up the inside for the lead.
Oh, and Kenny Breck gets in trouble.
And we've seen that a number of times this weekend. You make a big move down the inside, you're offline, there's no grip, you lock up the brakes, you slide off. The driver you're passing has to exercise a lot of experience and caution and patience. Watch what happens here. Cristiano D'Amata knows that Kenny's taking the inside of the corner. He'll pop off to the inside here as they come down. But now Cristiano says, go ahead and take it. You're way too fast. Cuts it very close. Cristiano stays online. Kenny goes, oh, man. And now the problem is he's back on the track. He's got a lot of dirt, a lot of grass on those tires. He's lost a huge amount of room, Cristiano D'Amata. But knowing Kenny Breck has just fired him up, I would expect in a lap or two he'll be right back on the back.
And guys,
that
speaking of a lap or two, you may have heard the radio conversation there that said Chris L3. That's Cristiano D'Amata. L3 means in 3 laps he'll be on pit road.
I can't get over what a savvy little move that was by Cristiano D'Amata, knowing full well that there's no way that Breck is going to make that corner. Just stay right on his line, give him all the room he can, let him get in front, and then realize that he isn't going to get by.
You look at skill and precision. Cristiano D'Amata cut right back across the stern of Kenny Breck with barely an inch or two to spare. It was absolutely precise, perfect driving, maintained his composure, and maintained the lead.
Michael Andretti is beginning to work on 3rd place, Gil DeFerrin now. Michael has been a very quiet presence up here in the front throughout the run. Behind them, a fellow who has been uncharacteristically patient throughout the day is Paul Tracy.
Well, except for that opening lap where it was very, very much Paul Tracy, but now he's settled right back down. This is the form that we saw Paul Tracy take right to the final race fighting for the championship. He's been very consistent, Paul. I've been watching him. Hasn't put a wheel wrong. And now, remember, one of the first people you have to beat in your list of competitors is your own teammate. He considers Michael Andretti to be that teammate. There'd be nothing better for him to get past him before this next pit stop.
We need 2 laps. Kenny Breck just set fast lap. Tony Kanaan was up there at 100 miles an hour, and Breck now with a blistering lap as the car goes a little bit lighter, becomes that much more efficient, and Breck is flying.
We heard on the radio they're calling Paul Tracy into the pits in 2 laps. You can see he's got quite an interval back to Michael now, so he's going to have to rely on his pit guys. The very guys who won the Craftsman Pit Stop Challenge last year to do a quick stop.
Back up at the front, D'Amata, Kenny Breck already back up and ready to work on him onto the pit straight.
And I knew that's what was going to happen. Once you make a mistake like that, a driver just gets really fired up and very determined. Plus, at this point, you know you don't have to worry about your tires. You're going to be in a couple of laps, so you're just going to use them every bit that you can. You can see Kenny has quite a bit of different line coming through that section of corners. Drives a much straighter line, makes up quite a bit of distance on Cristiano D'Amata.
Breck's going to close in as much as he can, but over in the pits, they've already laid out the equipment, expecting to stop by Kenny Breck this time around. There's his crew, the tires, what will be the final stop of the race for Breck.
And something switches in your mind because you're conserving, but as I said, you get to this point, there's nothing left to conserve. You might as well just burn the tires up and drive as hard as you can. You want to give your guys in the pits every opportunity to beat this guy that you can't get the job done on the track, but he's trying it.
Yeah, he's going to push him just as hard as he can. Oh, close again. Cristiano D'Amata holds him off. Breck stays in second.
I am very surprised at that move, considering the pit stops are imminent.
Well, Breck is putting D'Amata under heavy pressure.
Through here, Breck's car looks a lot quicker as it exits onto the back straight through the 9, 10, 11 complex. Looks like it's just a matter of time before he can make the move.
Yeah, but already he has peeled off the course, ready for his stop. Gary Gerald is right there.
Scott Remke has stepped out in front of the storage stand. Bobby Rahal, the team owner, has stepped back into the stand. The crew awaits, signs waving, arms waving, umbrella twirling on the pit wall. Here comes Breck now for the final service, or what should be, of the day. Last time he had a near miss with Michael Andretti. No indication of Andretti coming in on this lap as one of the Team Cool Green cars goes by. Everything looks routine for Breck. The revs come way up. They disengage. He rolls just a tick over 12 seconds on my clock.
Paul Tracy in and out of the pits as well. Smooth stop for him, no problem, but Parker, you were pointing when that right front came off at all the dust that dropped out of there.
Amazing, amazing. And Kenny Breck right up on the rev limiter. Remember, he stalled it coming out of the pits last year, cost him a race win potentially. Boy, he's not going to let that happen again.
So 56 lap was the stop time for Kenny Breck. This is Christian Fittipaldi and Oriol Servia. And here is the leader of the race now, Cristiano D'Amata, as he closes on those two. And we'll see when he's going to hit the pits.
Right about now.
Makes the turn in. Cristiano D'Amata as the race leader comes in. Jan Deacon.
Well, we know that Kenny Breck has set the mark here, so the Newman Haas crew hitting the marks, of course, means if he stops right on the marks, it's that much easier for the tire changers. But a bit conservative, I think. I think he could have brought it in a little bit hotter. Tires are done. They drop it off, just waiting for the fuel. Gary?
Michael Andretti getting service in his new Motorola number 39. And again, a lot of brake dust. He comes down off the jacks. They're holding him. Now they disengage, and he gets out safely.
Good job. He stops on the 58th lap of the race. Kenny Breck back in action now. Gil de Ferran assumed the lead of the race ahead of Michael Andretti. Then Michael peeled off and headed into the pits. And de Ferran, of course, should shortly be in as well. But the real question is going to be some of the other guys. Look at this. Michael Andretti slows just a bit.
Now remember, he just came out of the pits, Paul, and I think he's still, with a very slick track on these cold tires, really didn't have a choice.
Yeah, he wisely isn't going to hot foot those tires.
But I don't think he had a choice in that matter. He could have blocked Kenny all he wanted to, but Kenny, remember, has got an extra lap on those tires, as does Paul Tracy. Now I'm looking for is Cristiano D'Amata. Where did he come out in the mix of this?
Breck, Tracy, Junqueira, who is no factor in the race. Hard to say that about a Chip Ganassi car, but his two rookies still very much in learning mode. And there is exactly the question that you asked. Cristiano D'Amata.
That answers that question. D'Amata had a great pit stop, beat everybody out of the pits.
And with those stops, this man, Dario Franchitti, is now the leader of the race. 58 laps complete, 80 scheduled, and Franchitti is in front. Interesting change up at the front of the order constantly through the day. The changing condition of the track really affecting everything, and the fascinating strategy that's being played in the pits as well. The crowd here is loving it.
We ran out of these light-duty springs, but I found some big ones in the back. Okay by me.
Does your business depend on just-in-time delivery of critical parts? This is a job for FedEx.
I'm gonna miss that dog.
At 160 miles an hour, your heart rate triples. At 200 miles an hour, your muscles strain and distend. At 230 miles an hour, it's not uncommon for headaches to begin. And that's just what the crew is going through.
Hey, you're clear, you're clear.
The Toyota 4Runner is famous for taking you places other four-wheelers can't. And right now, Toyota is rolling back prices on every new 4Runner. As much as $1,500 on selected models. Plus, with some newly standard features, the 4Runner SR5 has never been a better value. So see your Toyota dealer now and get your next adventure rolling.
earth-shattering sound you get when we install a 12-inch subwoofer in your car.
Teachers showed you how to do so many things with your hands. Now we're calling on you to nominate the best teachers for Disney's American Teacher Awards. Raise your hands and call 1-877-ATA-TEACH.
This Wide World of Sports update brought to you by Mobile One. Nothing outperforms Mobile One. Here now, John Saunders.
And welcome to our studios in New York. Back out to the auto race in a moment, but first let's update action elsewhere, including the NCAA tournament and the Cracker Barrel 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You go back to last year, Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte. This is as close as it can get, and Earnhardt walks off with the victory. Now this year on the third lap, fans holding up three fingers in memory of Dale Earnhardt. Kevin Harvick driving Earnhardt's car. Gains on the leaders, Jerry Nadeau and Dale Jarrett, making it a close race down the stretch. As they cross the finish line, Harvick has the lead. Jeff Gordon is pushing, comes on strong, but Harvick holds him off to win. The celebration is on. Watch the replay again. 6/1000th of a second. That was the difference. And then the honor again for Dale Earnhardt, the number 3. Harvick, his first win in 3 starts for Jeff Gordon, his third straight top 3 finish. He takes over the lead in the Winston Cup. In the Big 12 tournament today, Iowa State was knocked out of this one. Kansas wasn't there, so the top 2 seeds were gone, but Oklahoma against Texas, looking to make it 3 straight against Texas. Freddie Williams with a 3-pointer there. Texas held Oklahoma to 14 points in the first half. Darian Selby, though, breaks free, and this is in a close game, a little bit of showtime. His coach, Kelvin Sampson, liking what he sees. Kelly Newton, then to Nolan Johnson. Johnson had an unbelievable day with 18 points and 13 rebounds. Chris Owens in a losing cause, 13 and 7, also with 3 blocks. That's 91 on his career. He's now the all-time leader at Texas, but look at Nolan Johnson. Oklahoma gets the number or automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. In the Big Ten, it came down to the wire. This free throw would have made it a 3-point game. The miss. They push it up. Kirk Hastings going to take the shot. Looks like he's open, but Reggie Evans comes out of nowhere, blocks it with the left hand, and Iowa has the win in unbelievable fashion. Both these teams, no one thought they would get into this one. Steve Alford against his old team gets the win 63-61. Both will be in that field, but Iowa will get the automatic bid. In the SEC championship, Kentucky blows out Ole Miss 77-55. Tayshaun Prince, 26 points and 12 rebounds. He was the MVP. Duke, for the second consecutive game, blows out North Carolina 79-53. They've now won 3 consecutive championships, only the 3rd team to do that. North Carolina in the 60s, NC State in the 50s. The field will be announced shortly, a field of 65 this year. We'll keep you up to date. Right now, back to Paul Page.
Welcome back to the Kart FedEx Championship Series, Monterrey, Mexico. That's Cristiano Damata. He's the leader of the race, trying to chase him down as Gil DeFerrin, who has been suffering some ailment. They've actually had him twice in the medical center trying to get some fluid replacement on him. And at the same time, he had just a massive accident during the preseason testing, and he still has problems with heavy G loading because he's still got some bruising to his chest and ribs, but nevertheless, he runs in 2nd place. Paul Tracy is 3rd. Dario Franchitti made a stop, and then they black flagged him, brought him in for a stop and go because of a pit penalty on his stop. So the top 4 right now are Damata, DeFerrin, and then Paul Tracy and Kenny Breck, the pole sitter, and the early leader is now in 4th place. It's been a most interesting afternoon, contributed in large part by the very changing conditions on this race course. In fact, as we look down from high above the track, you'll see some unusual lines by our leader, Cristiano Damata, and Kenny Breck is off. This is about the 3rd time he's had quick little off-course excursions and then gotten right back on. I'm just talking about the unusual lines for Cristiano. Part of that is because of some problems with marbles on the course, and drivers trying to avoid all of that. Quick replay of the Breck situation. Just right across the corner, down in turn 1.
Gets in just a little too fast, gets offline. does an excellent job of keeping the car under control and rejoining safely.
But as he does, Michael Andretti is able to get past him. I wonder if there isn't something more to it, something mechanical perhaps on Kenny Breck.
I just think Kenny's driving on the ragged edge, and on this circuit, if you make the smallest mistake, it puts you right off the course. I think Kenny's just trying very, very hard to get back to the front of this pack.
So for the most part, all of the pit strategies are played out now. It's a race to the finish. Cristiano D'Amata won a year ago at Chicago, his first race, looking for his second win, and what a nice way to start a new employment with Newman Haas Racing.
The 1998 Indy Lights champion, this would be his first road course win. Gilles de Ferran, remember, just dominated qualifying last year on the road courses. He and his teammate at Penske, Helio Castroneves, those two guys never qualified outside of the top 10. Running again very strong. The big buzz coming into the weekend is that Team Penske would be a dominant force, particularly on the temporary and permanent road courses. But Cristiano D'Amata has been going about his business very quietly, establishing those relationships at Newman Haas Racing. New engine this year for them with Toyota, not for Cristiano, of course. He really likes this new engineer, Peter Gibbons, who had worked with Michael Andretti for so long.
Well, Gary Gerald, you've been keeping track of Kenny Breck. These on and off excursions he's having. Any indication why he has that problem?
Well, I posed your question to Scott Rumpke a moment ago, and he said, no, he's just driving hard. No mechanical problems. However, there is a slight problem for Gilles de Ferran. Roger Penske told him 15 laps to go a few moments ago. He's getting a vibration, apparently because a wheel weight came off the right rear. He says he's okay, though. He's just got a rougher ride than he's had.
Well, Gilles de Ferran, second place, 3.3 seconds behind the lead of the race.
One of the things that concerns the drivers, if you pick up a vibration, it's easily to distinguish if it's in front of the car, the steering wheel will start to vibrate in your hand. If it's coming from the back of the car, you start to get a little nervous. On an oval, it's cause for concern to come in. Here, it's not that big of a problem. It could be a wheel weight or the tire actually shifting on the rim itself, throwing the balance off. These cars have so much horsepower, they just spin the tires on the rims.
Jimmy Vasser doing a nice job in his first drive for Pat Patrick. His teammate Roberto Moreno, of course, out of the race early with a pretty hard hit with the wall coming onto the pit straight. Moreno is okay. Vasser sitting here in 7th place. Scott Pruitt, you've been watching Kenny Breck as well.
Exactly. Before that last set of stops, it looks like he had the race in hand. Very good car, very controlled. Looked like he was putting the car exactly where he wanted to, nice and smooth. Since that, looks like he kind of shook him up a little bit, trying to overdrive the car, make those moves he can't make, sliding off the racetrack, really losing time instead of making it.
One of the things I watch when watching that fight with Castroneves and Vasser going through that 6-7 complex is that the guys are, what we've seen all weekend long, towards the end of the sessions, they get a little bit more desperate. Scott, you've seen that down from your vantage point. Castroneves actually started hitting the tires going through the 6-7 complex. They've got to be real careful. Are you seeing that down in your location as well? Guys getting a little bit more aggressive towards the curbing and the cones?
Biggest thing I'm seeing is the exit 9 coming onto the back straight. A lot of guys dumping wheels off. A lot of dirt coming back across the track. But as they go through 10 and into 11, everybody's pretty clean. They're respecting that area pretty good. I haven't seen much action at all through there.
Well, Cristiano D'Amata is leading it. There is Helio Castroneves with Jimmy Vasser just working him hard. At the same time, up in 2nd place, Paul Tracy and Gilles de Ferran are now closing up close enough that they should be fighting in the next few laps. 66 complete, 80 the scheduled distance. Cristiano D'Amata all alone, 5.5 seconds ahead of 2nd place Gilles de Ferran, but boy, there is a great deal going on back behind D'Amata. There are the top 5, and of course, if you own one of these cars, then you're very concerned about what's going on out there. How are you doing? And how the car is staying on the racetrack on a very difficult day. Here's a view of just a couple of them.
Our supplier sent us the wrong airbag.
We can't shut down the line. Put them in.
Need to make sure you get the right parts at the right time? This is a job for FedEx.
Hey, Alex.
Hi, Michael.
After you.
Oh, no, after you.
No, I insist.
Thank you.
Competition. Most of the time, it brings out the best in us.
Hey, make you some eggs.
It takes off with ease, turns with incredible precision, and grabs like it's second nature. Firehawk, the racing tires from Firestone, winner of 51 Indy 500s, and the inspiration behind Firehawk Performance Street Tires. On the track or on the street, no name soars higher with pride than Firehawk. Born at Indy, performs everywhere.
If you can't stop here, stop here for 25% off the regular price of Midas BSD brake pads and shoes. They've got a lifetime guarantee and they're the best we've ever offered. They're quieter, they stop faster, and last longer. And if they wear out, we'll provide you with new ones at no charge for as long as you own your car. So for 25% off VSD brakes, go Midas.
McNeil.
It's Trigger.
Hey, Trigger, what's up? What do you got?
Okay, the reviews are in. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, TV Guide calls it smart and sardonic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, also bitter, profane, and brazenly absurdist.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and get this. Time says starkly funny.
That's pretty much what I expected to hear.
Wednesday after a new Drew.
Yeah.
On ABC.
Thanks, man.
Oh, and viewer discretion is advised.
What did I tell you?
Let's get ready for Rumble!
The Indy 500 countdown begins. The Pennzoil Copper World Indy 200 next Sunday at 4 Eastern on ABC.
Well, get ready for a great hockey night doubleheader Monday night on ESPN2. The Pittsburgh Penguins, led by Mario Lemieux, head to New York to battle the Rangers at 7:30 Eastern. And then Trevor Linden leads the Montreal Canadiens to take on the San Jose Sharks. It's a National Hockey Night Monday on ESPN2. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Full course yellow is out. It's out for this situation. That's Christian Fittipaldi's car. The same position coming onto the pit straight that has eaten a couple of cars this weekend.
It was a Xerox moment of the Roberto Moreno crash. You can see that corner, the track's been coming up. I think Christian got just a little high coming onto the pit straight, got off into the gray, put him right into the wall. It's a real testimony to the safety of these cars. You can see there, the car's already wide as it comes off the corner. Extremely high, actually. Big impact on the outside. Christian gets out of the car, walks away.
Yeah, fortunately, Christian climbed out very quickly, but look at that impact. That wall just suddenly turns.
But that was different in a way that Roberto had a lot of speed, was picking up the power on the way out. Christian almost looks like something went wrong right at the apex because he was on the brakes slowing down from the apex all the way till the moment of impact. So it was different in that manner.
And again, there is the section, of course, that seems to be part of the contributory causes to some of these incidents. Heavily marbled on the high side and breaking up down on the line.
And you can see the skid marks that runs right out to the Simple Green safety vehicle there. Way offline, very, very high. Christian had that thing backed off trying to slow it down very early coming off the corner. And yet, whatever the cause of the problem is, he couldn't maintain control of the car.
So this is our third full course caution of the day in the list of cars and drivers out of the race. But let's consider the impact on the strategy in the race itself. We've completed 70 laps. In fact, we were just beginning to think of how close are we to a timed race. Well, it may be that right now. Jan Vikas, you have Christian with you?
I do. Christian, was that the marbling problem again down there in the final corner?
Yeah, it's a marbling problem, but pretty tough weekend for us. Like, we never got a balance in the car. We had some mechanical problems, but that was not the worst. Like, the problem was we're never in touch with the race, really, and I stepped on the marbles there and understeered a lot, and I went straight into the wall.
How about the conditions on other parts of the racetrack?
It's okay when you go on the line. When you go offline, it's pretty hard.
Well, the only good news, his teammate right now is leading.
Yeah, that may just manage to pay for the car just damaged by Christian Fittipaldi. Our Toyota Spotlight looks at that turn 12 and what it's done to race cars this weekend. Most recently to Christian Fittipaldi, but he got in trouble earlier there. This is Roberto Moreno. Paul Tracy also caught the wall hard in practice there. That's the accident that brought out the yellow we're in right now, involving Christian Fittipaldi. And as you saw, he's talked with Jan Beekes, and physically he's fine, but the race car has got some pretty severe damage to it. And under the full course caution, it's Cristiano D'Amata, the teammate to Christian Fittipaldi, who is the leader. Gil de Ferran holding on to that second place. Paul Tracy is now up in third, followed by Michael Andretti and Kenny Breck. We'll be back.
Don't ask me what I dream about, because I don't have time to dream. And if I did, I wouldn't waste it on silly little things like dreams. I'd be awake, pushing myself beyond the boundaries of the imaginable to a place that only a handful of lucky people have ever seen. Because in my world, dreams can be broken. I can't.
Yo.
Thompson, Gilman here. You at the office?
How's the trip going, sir?
Fine. Did Mackenzie's email say 4 million? And when's the meeting?
Call you right back.
Introducing Nextel Office Email. Calendar, contact list, email, right on your phone.
Me again. 4 million and the meeting's at 10.
Excellent work. Why don't you go home early?
Nextel. More ways than anyone to communicate with everyone.
You want, but nothing can replace the rush you get from a Kawasaki Ninja.
At 160 miles an hour, your heart rate triples. At 200 miles an hour, your muscles strain and distend. At 230 miles an hour, it's not uncommon for headaches to begin. That's just what the crew is going through.
Hey, you're clear, you're clear. The Monterrey Grand Prix on ABC Sports, brought to you by FedEx, proud sponsor of the FedEx Championship Series, and Honda, proud sponsor of the 2001 FedEx Championship Series.
Weekend, the NHRA returns to action at the Gator Nationals. Top Fuel rookie Darrell Russell is the hottest driver on the circuit, and John Forrest is looking to make it 2 in a row in Funny Car. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Well, here in Monterrey, Mexico, they've just told the racers that it is now officially a timed race. That involves the 2-hour rule. They started at about 5 minutes after the hour. It'll come pretty close to the original scheduled distance of 80 laps, but it now will officially be called at the conclusion of 2 hours.
What that means simply for the drivers is you can see Gil de Ferran. They're going to scrub these tires, warm the brakes. They'll be left foot braking because these guys know that they'll have, when this thing goes green, about 8 minutes to do whatever it is they're going to do. I would expect if you're going to see brave moves, you're going to see it right on the first lap of this restart.
Well, the race is up to D'Amata to lose, or perhaps Gil de Ferran to grab it away from him. Gary Gerald, what's Roger Penske think?
Well, let's find out. Roger, now a timed race officially. What would be your strategy for your man in the second spot?
Well, I think what we need to do is just watch ourselves here. First race of the season. The track's got a lot of marbles on it. I think we need to just watch our rear end from Tracy coming up behind us. So we'll just see if we get a good break at the start. There's going to be 5 or 6 laps left, and let's see. We need to finish this race.
You know, Gil has been quite sick this weekend, not feeling good at all. Has he been hanging in maybe better than you thought he might?
It cooled off a little bit here, so far so good. So we got 5 or 6 laps to go.
Thank you, sir.
And I don't want to discount out this other guy. Look back there behind Gil de Ferran, Paul Tracy. This is the kind of time he earns his money, but then again behind him, Michael Andretti. I wouldn't want those two guys lined up behind me.
But then again, Kenny Breck behind Michael Andretti, and then Castro Neves. All of these guys. That's the thing that's so amazing about this Champ Car Series, is the depth of talent is so deep.
Jan Vikas, Carl Haas just lost one car, but he's got one in front.
Yes, of course, we talked to Roger Penske, but here's the man that's on the point right now, Carl Haas. I know disappointing for Christian, but exciting day for Cristiano.
Well, he's been driving a great race up until now, and we're keeping our fingers crossed.
What do you tell him? I know you're in the other pit right now, but you're monitoring the radio. Just try and keep him calm?
You know, there isn't too much you can tell him. He's leading the race, so he's got plenty of fuel, and, you know, hang in there.
All right, we wish you well.
Thank you.
So those are the owners that are concerned, with the exception, of course, of Paul Tracy. Barry Green owns that car. There's been quite a change at Team Green this year in the management structure. Jan Vikas, a little further back, or excuse me, Gary Gerald.
Yeah, John Anderson has switched over this year. He's wearing the Team Cool green colors. We ran up to Barry, and Barry said, talk to Ando. Ando, what's the strategy here in this third spot now? Can you get by those two cars in front of you?
We'll see what develops here, mate. It's a very tricky track with the conditions. But, man, this guy and these guys make it so easy.
He started 15th. All right. We'll see what happens here. They're excited, they're concerned, they're anxious, they're all but biting their fingernails.
There's a lot of nerves showing down there. That's John Anderson, part of the management style change that's occurred at Green. Barry's just kind of sitting back, become more of an observer, and has all the rest of the crew in there working hard. So as we're ready to come back to Green, DeMata, DeFerrin, Tracy, Andretti, Breck. Oh, it's going to be a neat run.
The strategy here is hook the guy behind you, get him off balance, stand on the gas and go. Get as big as an interval as you can so you don't get attacked from behind, so you can concentrate on attacking ahead.
Green flag, Chris. Green flag comes out for Cristiano DeMata. You heard the radio as they make sure that he knows the green flag is out. DeFerrin, Tracy, Andretti follow through turn 1, now sweep through turn 2.
They're going to make a move. You'll see it at the end of this next short straightaway. That's where Tracy picked up a lot of positions on that opening lap, but I don't think he's close enough.
Top two right together. You're right, Scott. Bit of a separation. Back to Paul Tracy. And the group behind Tracy, Michael, and then Kenny Breck and Catherine Evans and Jimmy Vasser. It's still very, very tight up there.
This is where a driver really earns his keep. You've got to be as aggressive as you possibly can. You could see the tires getting clipped there as Dario came through, but you can't make a mistake, and this track doesn't afford any mistakes. You get a little offline, you're off the course. But look at DeMata and DeFerrin now starting to pull away from Tracy.
We said right at the start, patient aggression is what's going to pay off here today. The track has been the biggest challenge, just trying to get through lap after lap on a very slick surface.
Chris, L4.
That's fuel position. They're telling him he's got plenty of fuel, he can richen it up. These guys are just going to use everything they have. They don't care about fuel consumption. They don't care about tires. All they care about is looking in their mirrors and making sure that whatever color the car is behind them, that it gets smaller and a little blurrier as this race goes on.
Interval 1.1 seconds, DeMata to DeFerrin. You can see it visually. Doesn't seem to change much here. DeFerrin's in a bit of a struggle trying to catch up. Paul Tracy has not been able to attack DeFerrin either.
And if you're in Gilles DeFerrin's shoes right now, remember he is sick, but that's not a concern. It will be the moment the checkered flag falls. They'll have to drag him out of that car. But right now he's got to get close enough to DeMata. Maybe not to pass, but at least to make him nervous enough or get him distracted enough to make a mistake, because this young man knows he's only got a few laps left, that he's a champion. He's won in all sorts of cars, won the championship in '98 in Indy Lights. He's great under pressure, but still, DeFerrin's got to work his way up close enough so that all DeMata sees whenever he looks in the mirrors is the white and orange of Penske Racing.
Parker and I had a great and somewhat lengthy conversation with Cristiano about an hour before the start of the race. He seemed to be in a great mood.
L3, Chris. L3.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's a lap count.
That's laps. That's not fuel position. That is lap count.
And they have just on the official channel put out that there are 3 minutes remaining in the race.
My list is getting long for corrections here, Paul, but yeah, that's definitely lap count. And when it get down to that last lap, that's when you just start doing a lot of praying and saying, come on, just let me drive this lap as perfectly as possible. Right now, though, Cristiano's 1.28 seconds ahead.
Oh.
You can see he's using it, and that dirt that he's kicking up is actually a good thing. It's a little open wheel trick. As long as it doesn't disturb the car, you don't pick up any junk on the tires, you want to kind of give it the 007 blast with a guy behind you. Gets him distracted. He's got to drive through all that junk that you've just thrown up at him.
Yeah, good for D'Amata, not great for DeFerrin, Tracy, and Andretti.
Well, right now, Cristiano D'Amata is not being a humanitarian. He's only concerned about one thing, and that's getting to the checkered flag first.
Nor do we expect that. Adrian Fernandez off course. No factor in the fight.
That's down at turn 5, it looks like. That's the end of the straightaway on the front side.
Back with Cristiano D'Amata driving the car vacated by Michael Andretti. Michael is 3 positions back. Michael was looking for a change, a fresh team.
L2, Chris. L2.
We're expecting the white flag to come out next time by.
He's extended the interval by 0.3 of a second over Gilles DeFerrin.
And think of Cristiano D'Amata weighs what, about 125, 126 pounds.
With
Maybe
his clothes
that by
on
itself is actually making a difference in his individual lap time. Coming up next on ABC, World News Tonight Sunday, as soon as we conclude the run here in Monterrey, Mexico.
And that waving yellow you saw was for Fernandez down at turn 5. It's a local yellow. It doesn't affect anything else on the racetrack. Certainly these guys didn't slow down at all.
Tremendous crowd for a first-time race. Right at 100,000 here in the stands. Jimmy Vasser is up. He's going to work very hard on Kenny Breck. Waiting for the white flag to come out. What was an 80-lap race, now a timed race. 76 laps will be complete this time by. Or complete now, 77 will be complete this time by. Forget that ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. White flag is out. 1 to go for Cristiano D'Amata. 2.1 miles separates D'Amata from his second victory in the Kart FedEx Championship Series.
And the interval back to DeFerrin is stabilized now. It's Toyota, and then 3 Hondas and Kenny Breck in that Ford-powered car. This man, Paul Tracy, just back there in 3rd place, gets the Hard Charger Award. Remember, he started this race back in 15th position. Now in 3rd. Great run for Paul Tracy.
Everyone seems static in position. And the question is whether or not, say, Vasser and Breck, who seem to be the closest competitors on the final lap of the race, might swap positions in this last lap.
You just can't make any mistakes, and the only thing you can hope for is the guy in front of you does, and then you don't get involved in whatever his mistake was. But Cristiano D'Amata now knows, I've only got 3 more corners. He's got a gap of 1.3 seconds. He knows he's just got to drive them perfectly, maybe a little conservatively, and he's looking at his 2nd career Champ Car victory, his 1st on a road course.
Cristiano D'Amata works this course, and while we're running a little bit long here, what with the long cautions, checkered flag comes out. We're going to try to talk to Cristiano on his 2-way radio as he wins, and flash bulbs go off in the stand. You would have thought it was an explosion. Congratulations, Cristiano D'Amata. This is Paul Page at ABC. You've taken your 2nd victory, buddy.
Thank you. TV people, they can't get to you to do an interview, so talk.
We told the crew that they might mention it to him. They waited until we were already talking. Cristiano D'Amata, how tough was this run? The course looked very slick.
It was a pretty good race. I'm just happy, you know, it turned the year so well. Just don't have any words.
But Cristiano D'Amata has taken his 2nd race in the series. Last year at Chicago, now here. Next race for the Kart FedEx Series, April 8th at Long Beach, California, and we will have coverage on ABC. So Cristiano D'Amata wins it, followed by DeFerrin, Paul Tracy, Michael Andretti, and Kenny Breck. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.
Promotional consideration provided by National Car Rental, the official car rental company of Disneyland and Walt Disney World Resort.
And go, y'all,